brighter light. Inner circles here where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No time is too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's share the talk.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Today is Monday, January 26th. The month is almost ending here. I'm your host, Abe Kamara. And tonight is our entertainment segment. I'm here with my co-host, Miss B. Miss B, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy new week. It's your girl, Miss B.
Okay. And we have a special guest tonight. So tonight the topic is From Cameroon to the Clubhouse, a story of music, purpose, and impact. And I will let my guest introduce himself, and then from there we can get to things. Noc, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad to be here with my people. My name is Noc Beteck. That's my artist name. Real name is Noc Beteck. Currently in Salisbury, Maryland. But I was born in Cameroon, Africa.
Okay. Well, folks, you can join the conversation tonight. If you have a question from Noc, you can put chat or call our number 952-594-5154. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on X, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. But before we get into things, man, I just want to take the time, our city, I don't know, Noc, you're from the DMV area, but in Minnesota here, we've been under the spotlight of everything going on. So I just want to take this time to, our condolences to Perry and his family, the killing that took place here on Saturday. Man, it's like our state has been through a lot over the last couple of years or so. We've been going through a lot, and I hope things can calm down. We just want to pray for those that have been impacted by this whole immigration surge, by everything going in our country right now. We just want to pray. Our prayers are up for everyone that's going through whatever it is they're going through, and we pray for the Perry family. Miss B, anything to add there? You're on mute.
I mean, again, because of what I do and my involvement in the community, it's been a lot. It's been heavy. A lot of things have been said, and what we're hoping, this situation has led to conversations with the president, and hopefully removing ICE agent and closing out on this operation that started in December 6th. But again, my condolences as well to the family and friends of the bereaved, and just thank you for the victim and everything that he represented and everything that he was doing to support community. And hopefully we would be able to continue his legacy throughout the work he was doing as a nurse working in ICU, and really honoring his patients and the community that he lives in.
Yeah, Noc, man, anything to add there before we get into things, man? As I said, our city and our state has been through a lot, and no one wants to see us of life. So, anything to add?
I just want to send out my condolences, and just for everybody, to just take moments like these and just reflect on life and just understand that, things can be a lot worse for you. So don't, moments like this should make people just take for granted what they have in their life and just cherish it.
Yeah. Definitely, man, definitely. But man, so that's that. We just wanted to throw that out there. It's been a long weekend in Minnesota here. So but back to the real reason why we are here tonight, to highlight you, to highlight what it is that you are doing in the community, what it is you are doing musically, culturally, stuff like that. But take us back, man, to Cameroon, right? What part of the
Yes.
upbringing that still live with you today, and you decided to bring that as an immigrant to this vibrant country?
Of course, Cameroon is my stomping ground. So everything that I've learned and I experienced way back in Cameroon, as far as like family and just my social interaction with people, even though I moved over here to the U.S. when I was 8, a lot of those things that I learned as a kid still carries with me to this day, especially, how my family, the dynamic of my family is, that still lives on to me now as a man.
Okay, Miss B. Anything to add? Any question from that?
I mean, Cameroon, that's interesting. I'm gonna say I did not think of music coming from Cameroon, and so I mean, I look forward to kind of saying what is the history there, what is the difference in sound. Um, that's what I'm thinking off the top of my head. It's unfortunate. I apologize for my ignorance. I correlate a lot of times some of the Afro beats to, Nigeria and other places, even South Africa, but not thinking about Ghana, but not thinking about Cameroon. So I kind of want to know, like, what is the history of music from that space?
So when I lived in Cameroon, Afrobeats had not come out yet. We listened to a lot of like singers and dance music. I remember like one of my favorite, artists in Africa was a guy named Kotobas. So we listened to like just a lot of dance music, like rap and Afro beats was not really a thing back then. Then when I moved to the US, I got into hip hop, I got into rap, I got into R&B and pop music. And then around like 20, I want to say like 2014, 2015 is when I started hearing like the rise of Afrobeat back home in Africa. And I was like, man, wow, I wish that had came out when I was over there, um, back in Cameroon.
So, what are you into right now, right? Like in terms of music, right? What are you into? What lane are you in? Are you gravitating towards Afrobeats? Are you in hip hop? Or what lane are you occupying right now in terms of your music and culture?
Um, the major thing that I'm mainly into is
Yeah.
definitely hip hop, but I
Okay.
listen to a lot of various music. Again, Afro beats, R&B, pop music, rock music, jazz, and believe it or not, even opera music. Sometimes I just want to. For some reason, I just like opera music. Even though there's no words, but like just the voices and the tones, and just that frequency that when you're listening to it, it's just therapeutic.
Okay. I know you said you came here at the age of 8, right? What was the hardest adjustment for you as an immigrant coming here as an 8-year-old? What was the hardest adjustment for you culturally? I mean, I know you said, and then when you're in Cameroon, you need to listen to just music and hip hop. What was that adjustment like for you culturally?
To be honest, like my first 2 years living here in America, I was extremely depressed and sad, because it was a huge change in my life, especially as far as like now just going outside and going to school, like everything for me had changed. So it was very hard for me to kind of adjust because in Cameroon, I grew up, being that kid that all the little kids want to be friends with, all the little girls had crushes on. I was just like this cute kid that everybody just happened to love. And then coming here
Mm,
to America, it was like, you know, it was a turnaround. It was like a total opposite. You know, I'm finding out that like I'm getting teased, I'm being made fun of because I'm black and I'm from Africa, and like I'm not, I couldn't like really make, you know, friends. So I ended up just really sticking to myself a lot. I was a very like, I want to say like lone kid, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to that, right, for our folks who don't know Cameroon, I know Cameroon is both English and French, but French is dominant. Which
Yeah.
side of the country? I mean, which side do you fall on? Is it the French side or the English speaking Cameroon?
I fell on the English speaking side, but we had like a lot of people in the neighborhood who spoke French though.
Okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay, okay, okay. Miss B.
I think that your story right there, right? Like your experience coming here, that is something we don't talk about a lot, right? Where
Mhm.
you were thriving, you were doing well in Cameroon, and then you come here as a child and you feel like you feel ostracized and you feel alienated, and you're processing what it means to be black probably for the first time
Yeah,
in a different
definitely.
way, right? And
Hmm.
so I kind of want to touch on that a little bit more, right? So what brought you to America if it wasn't by choice? Because it doesn't seem it was by your choice. I would be interested to say what brought you to America, and because of that, the transition, like what things happened for you to start feeling comfortable? What was that thing, that door that opened up for you to start feeling comfortable now that you were in America?
So my parents were the ones who actually wanted me and my brothers and sisters to move to America. So and that even to this day, I don't know like the complete answer, but I'm starting to like learn and realize the reasons why. You know, my dad back home in Cameroon, you know, he had like a, I guess, quote unquote, like a high position in society, and he did some work for like the government. He was CEO for a company, and my mom was a teacher. So they just wanted, I guess, a better opportunity for us in America than we would have had back in Cameroon. And seeing like the things that's happening in Cameroon now, you know, I'm starting to realize like, okay, you know, maybe this is, you know, the reasons why our parents, you know, wanted us to come to America because, you know, there's a lot of like, you know, issues going on in Cameroon now. And as far as like I when I moved here and actually started to like interact with people and started making new friends. The opening door for that, you know, was actually me just happened to draw. You know, when the kids in school, when they saw that I could draw, it was like, you know, that fascinated them. So people used to come to me and wanted me to draw things for them, and that's how I started to make friends and stuff, and started to become more comfortable, you know, and settled living in America.
Okay. At
Nice.
what point though, right, did you realize like I mean your immigrant story or your immigrant background wasn't a burden but a strength, right? In terms of that you just mentioned, right? You decided to draw, you decided to lean into your drawing or your music or things of your culture. But at what point did you realize, your immigrant story wasn't a burden but a strength? At what point?
Honestly, I'll have to say maybe like when I was like 17 in high school,
Mm,
and I just started noticing that I shouldn't feel ashamed of where I'm from. So I
mm,
just started accepting that and started, you know, just letting people, you know, see that yeah, I am from Africa. You know, Africa is a strong continent with strong people, and I started, you know, representing that even more and be more proud of that. You know,
mm,
instead of trying to hide it and not really know and not really tell people that I am from Africa. You know, for many years when I came here, because of those experiences when I first came here, it put me like in a state of silence where I really didn't
Mm,
want to tell people about me. And then
mm.
as I started to grow and I'm learning, the American culture, the American traditions, but yet starting to see, more people like embrace Africa like that. That influenced me to say, hey, you need to embrace it yourself. You need to take pride in that. So around high school is when I really started to like take pride in being from Cameroon and just being African.
Okay, okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing from Cameroon to the Clubhouse, a story of music, purpose, and impact, and we have our man Noc. If I pronounce if I mispronounce your last name right, man, but I'm just gonna say Noc, right? So I'm not gonna because I'm not good at
That's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say my man Noc. But Miss B, any question from you?
It's Noc Beteck. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're getting to the part of artistry. Like to see, what is that moment that takes you fully into your artistry? You're okay, you're comfortable, you're repping where you're from, you're in high school. What is that moment that takes you into your artistry to say, this is a part of who I am and I want to show this to the world?
I'm a person that, I like reflecting a lot about the things that I've been through, I've lived, and just looking at the outside world. So plenty times when I'm by myself, like when in order for me to like create a song or a music, I just reflect on my past and everything that's going on in my city and just the whole world in general. And now with social media and the internet, it just gives me like a lot of things that I can reflect on and just think of and just really just learn life in general, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Man, that's a good story right there, right? I mean, you have described, your life, music as a space, right? Like as your safe space. What was music like? When you say your safe space, right? You describe music as your safe space. Say more to that. I mean, say more. I mean, what do you mean about your safe space? Music is a safe space.
Okay, so previously I told you guys about, when I moved here, I would, having those first encounters, first experiences here with, with kids in school, that put me in a silent state. So I became extremely good at storytelling and writing.
Mm.
So, and all that just transformed into music. I started doing music in high school. And
Mm.
again, around that time when I started feeling, prideful of being, African. So that vial of silence, it just transitioned into storytelling because before I felt like my thoughts and my feelings didn't matter except putting it down on paper. So every time I put it down on paper and when I started doing music, it just now the only thing was just for me to rhyme with what I was feeling or what I was thinking, and that was actually easy for me. So music was as as far as it being therapeutic, it was, you know, again, my outlet. It was my voice.
Mm.
Was
Yeah.
it was me just releasing myself.
Okay. Okay. Where I mean, for folks, right? For the sake of our audience, when folks listening to you tonight, if they want to sample some of your music, some of your stuff, where can they find it?
I'm on all streaming platforms: Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, YouTube, anywhere you can stream music, you can find my music.
Okay. Okay. Miss B, question? Anything from you?
So I kind of we're talking music. You say you like all genre of music, but what do you feel like speaks to your heart for what you are demonstrating right now? I want to dive into digital street currency. What is that?
Um, you said the type of music that speaks to my heart.
That speaks to your heart. We like to put people in a certain genre. Like, what genre of music are you in? What genre of music speaks to your heart? And what is digital currency, digital street currency? What is that?
Okay, so the type of genre I consider myself in, I'm a hip hop rap artist with a
Mm.
blend of pop because my as far as like just strictly rap. you know, I have some songs that you can actually say, oh, this is more pop or this is more EDM, even though I am rapping on those songs. But you know, the beat is totally different from how a rap beat would be. So like again, with me having to just like different genres, I tend to like blend that in a way in my music. And I guess that's like I feel like as though being able to do that, it makes everybody, you know, it makes my music for everybody, to be honest, not just for a certain group of people. And as far as digital street currency, it's actually a partnership that I have with a company called Radio Pushers, who have a platform where they pretty much, you know, guide artists on how to make money with their music. So that's what digital currency is.
Okay, okay. Who's your favorite rap artist?
Mm, my favorite rap artist of all time is Jadakiss. Currently, right now, it's a guy named YG Tech.
Okay.
But
I'm, I'm
that's that's very ironic because my favorite like musician is Phil Collins. Again, that just shows a different, you know, just me liking different things. You know, like Phil Collins is the first musician that I can remember listening to. My mom used to play a lot of Phil Collins when I was a child.
okay, okay. I mean, it's like I'm disappointed you don't like Pac, man. It's like
No,
Pac is
I
my
do like
favorite
Pac.
artist.
I,
Well, it's
I
like
do like
he's
Pac.
not.
I'm a
Okay,
Pac fan. I'm a
okay,
Pac fan, and you know when
okay.
people talk about when they had the comparison with Biggie and Pac and who's better, I
Yeah,
always said Pac was the better artist. Biggie was just a better rapper. That's it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Biggie was a better entertainer, but Pac was the lyricist or something, right? Or maybe
Yeah,
I mean, his music or his stuff has stories. I mean, behind that. But
yeah,
anyway, let's read.
and then on top of that, he was a revolutionary. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, he always spoke, you know, for the people. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
that's one of the things I liked about Pop.
Okay, okay.
I just have to say, Jada Kiss, why? Phil Collins, In the Air of the Night. I mean, those are some of my favorite artists. Phil Collins, Another Day in Paradise.
Yes.
Honestly, I discovered Phil Collins from the movie my mom used to watch called Miami Vice. And the
Mm,
theme song is In the Air of the Night. And so that's how I got to know Phil Collins. And I'm a huge Jada Kiss fan because his voice, his style,
yeah.
his flow is just so unique when it comes to the rap industry. So great people that you're shouting out here tonight. So and I can see the Jada Kiss lookalike resemblance in you. So I'm
Yeah.
really trying to hear your lyrics. Like feel free to freestyle on here tonight if you want
Yeah,
to.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not about to battle you at all, but it's 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees. That's as much as I'm going to be able to give you. So I with that being said, I mean, having such a wide range of music that you feel and connect to. It's like how do you find your niche in an industry that can be so tough? Like who do you feel that in this day with streaming and it being hard to get the music out there, like who do you think your audience is? Like what is that niche for you that you're finding?
Yeah. So the niche for me is just the average working person. You
Mm,
know, when you really think about like rap music over the previous years, there's always been like two types of rappers. Either the rapper was like gangsta and street, or they was like, I mean, they came.
Commercial and Mace.
Yeah, so there was like no one really talked about the in the middle, like, and
mm,
that's the bulk of people who are listening, who are making these guys, superstars, celebrities. The average working person. And so that's like who my niche is, the people that I'm able to connect with, because a lot of like the themes and the things that I talk about in my music is coming from a place where the average person is going to understand, having to deal with, you know, your job, things at your job, having to deal with just things in life, you know, what's going on at home, having to raise kids, things that are going on in your neighborhood that you're seeing. So, you know, I'm able to connect with just the average working person in society.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I know you talk about your faith, right? You know, how does your faith and music intersect, right? How does faith and music intersect for you, right? During moments of pain and uncertainty, how does that intersect for you?
Me, I tend to use, you know, a lot of like, you know, the pain and hurt and the mistakes, the failures that I've had, you know, has a strength to actually grow as an individual. And again, just having to connect with just the average person, they can relate to that because we all have to deal, you know, with something in life that we don't like, whether it's, you know, going broke or dealing with stress, having issues in relationships, having issues, you know, with your kids, you know, those things that are happening to you, you're supposed to use, you know, to have faith in yourself so you can grow as an individual. So it is for me, just being able to use experiences to keep faith in myself, you know, and understand, and also understand that everything that you're going through is for a reason, is for a purpose, and you're supposed to use that to grow as a person, to be a better person for yourself and to others around you.
I know you say you're on other platforms, right? Your music is out there. What is your most trending music, right? What is your like? If I want, is that say, man, I want to listen to one of my men knock, hits, right? What's the best one? What's the most popular one? That's trending out there
The
right now.
most popular one, I believe right now, is peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure, yeah. Peer pressure is a song that talks about a juvenile who comes of age and he sees his environment and his family. His dad is in prison. He has a baby sister, and his mom is on drugs. So now that he's of age, he looks at his dynamic and he says, you know, I want to help out my family. And so he gets into the streets and he soon realizes that joining the streets, he faces a lot of consequences because of his decision, and then he ultimately pays the price for it. You know, it's a song. It's a song that, you know, that a lot of the youth in today's society are actually having to go through, and nobody understands their actions because no one's
Yeah.
checking the root of why they're a certain way, why they're committing crimes, you know, why they're doing what they're doing in society. You know, no
Yeah.
one's looking at the background and really understanding that. So peer pressure is a song that talks about, you know, that those youth who in society are having to face, you know, a tough lifestyle and having to make decisions that is sending them down the wrong path.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Let's be.
I mean, you talk about peer pressure, but there's two of them that's really piquing my interest: Mental Paradox and Heart Full of Love. I want to know, like, you know, we know guys can be tough, right? So I
Uh-huh.
really want to know where is this coming from? The song Mental Paradox and the one Heart Full of Love. Heart Full of Love.
All
Where
right.
did you draw
So
from for that one?
Mental Paradox is actually the first song I dropped in December 2022 when I finally realized that music was my purpose. That was the first song that I dropped. So that song, what it is, you know, when you think of a paradox is, you know, going from one point to another and then back to that same point again. So mental paradox is actually it's actually talking about a relationship having to deal, with that partner, y'all break up, go separate ways, but end up right back together again. So that's what mental paradox is. It's all a mental, it's all, mental, it's all mentally, because everything that we're doing is really in our minds. So that's all it is. And then as far as you said heartful
A
of
heart full of love.
so heartful of love is it's just a reflection of, having the balance of love for people and yourself, not showing any hatred, no matter what happens to you. That there's some things that you go through that make you want to show hate, but instead of you showing hate, you choose love instead. Like, for example, one of the things in that song that I talk about was a friend who pretty much betrayed me, and instead of me reacting to it and going after him, I just chose to say, it's not worth it, and just left it alone at that, and just moved on.
Wow. I mean, that's powerful right there, man. We live in a society right now. We live in a moment right now. We live in a war right now. It's like everyone want to revenge. Everyone want to get back at you. And the fact that you're talking about, heartful of love, where no matter what happened to you, man, always have love and stuff. To me, that's powerful, man. That's powerful right there. I'm gonna have to listen to that joint.
It just speaks to. I just think about the day the guy showed up, the YouTuber showed up here in Minneapolis, and the irony of the fact that it was a Black man who literally saved his life from the mob of folks that were trying to kill him. So as soon as when you start to talk about that song representing forgiveness, even though when somebody has done to you, I don't know, for some reason that's the first picture that came into my head. And so I can just imagine how powerful of a track that is for other folks.
Yeah, because that was, because that situation was an opportunity, for him to join the crowd and actually, hurt this guy. But instead he was like, what is that going to prove? What is that going to prove? And what is that saying about myself? I'm joining everybody, and that's one of my things of why I do music, is just to show people to be true to yourself, be authentic, and that you don't have to follow the crowd. Sometimes the crowd is wrong and headed down the wrong way. You don't need to be a part of that. Be true to yourself.
Man, it's like you are so poetic, right? I think I can see to your heart there, what I mean? But the thing about it, bro, I mean, how is that message getting through though, right? It's like, in a world where we live in, it's not about clickbait, right? I mean, the word of the word of the year 2025 was everyone just want to click, right? Everyone's just trying to get it. It's like no one is. These days, when you see something on social media or everywhere you see it, you have to question, you have to ask like 2 or 3 times. Is that authentic? Is that real? How is that getting through though, right? For you, right? You want to be authentic, right? You want to be yourself, right? Trying to kind of put that message out there. How is that being received?
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It's extremely hard. But again, I came in this music. I think about this every single day. I came in this music at the right time, at the right moment when the world needs it. Because again, like I said, I have been doing music since high school, but I never released my music publicly until 2022, when I realized that music was my purpose. And when I figured that music was my purpose, again, everything that's going on in the world, my music is, to send a message to people of morality and self-reflection, as well as just to inspire, motivate, and just guide people in this life, because the world needs it at a time like this, where everything is almost like, in my latest release, one of the songs, I said, it's like it's like everything, like fake is the new real, and real is the new fake. So with me having to just be in this position that I am now with my music, it makes it hard for people to gravitate and receive that message, but I know it's needed. and it's going to take some time. And you know, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. I know you said you went public with your music in 2022, but what was the first song, right, when you started really getting into that thing, right, getting into the music? What was the first song that said, man, you know what, the first song that you wrote, or the first song that you maybe like, you know, did yourself in the studio and said, I felt so honest and said, man, you know what, I think this thing is for me, right? It felt so, you know, healing, right? There was that healing moment. I said, man, this is my purpose, right? What was that first music?
I can't specifically remember the first song, but what I do remember is you know, before having to actually release my first song, which was Mental Paradox, I was actually going through a state of like depression, and I felt like I had no meaning in life, you know, and I felt like everything in my life was going wrong.
Yeah.
So I started writing poetry. I was writing poetry, and then for whatever reason, like I heard a beat. I think it was like on TV or something. I just heard a beat, and then a little rhyme just started coming in my head, and then from there, I just started writing songs. I was just writing songs like every single day, and then like when I decided to like release my first track, Mental Paradox, I wanted to release something that showed my rap talent, my versatility, and Mental Paradox was like the perfect song for that. But as far as like the actual first song, that made me realize that, you know, music was my thing. I can't quite remember that first
Okay.
song,
Sure.
but I actually had like a quote unquote a life awakening vision. That was
Sure.
when I realized music, you know, was my purpose. Because again, I was just home. I was just home one night, and again, I'm going through what I'm going through in life, and I just again started reflecting, and I just ended up having this vision and letting me realize that music was the way.
Okay. Okay. Miss B.
I mean, I just kind of wanted to sit in that for a little bit when you talk about a vision. Like, were you in this really dark space? And then I want to say, like, you were sharing a little bit about the process of making music, right? So you get the vision, you realize music is what you want to do. Like, what is your complete process to complete a full album? What does that take us through that?
To complete a full album, my first album, I actually want to like partner with like a company or a record label to produce my first album because I want it to be extremely special. And the name for that is going to be the Golden Ticket, which is just symbolizing that, you know, my book of rhymes, quote unquote, the ticket was my way to my destiny, to get to where I need to be at in life. So when it comes to writing music, creating a song, you know, again, I'm always reflecting, you know, and as far as like the beat or the instrumental, that beat or instrumental has to resonate within me and bring out that story or bring out that theme or bring out that concept that I need to put in a song. So it has to like me and the beat has to match in order for me to bring out, you know, that story or what I'm trying or what I'm trying to give to people through my music.
Okay, okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing from Cameroon to the Clubhouse, story of music, purpose, and impact. And we are talking with Noc from the DMV era. I want them, the man's from Maryland, but I know that whole DMV. He's based in Maryland, but it's the whole DMV. I know he has that whole DMV era on fire. So, but folks, you can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 952-594 if you have 5154 if you have any question or comment for Noc. But this has been a great conversation. Where your story is very impactful. It's like, you know, it's a story of I think all immigrants can relate, right?
Yeah.
And it's a powerful story. I love you already. You know what I mean? I want to listen to your music more. You know what I mean? Want to listen to a couple of it. Hopefully your album can come out. But folks listening to you, man, what should be the takeaway from there? Right? It's like, I mean, God, it's like, I don't know, I hear not talking here tonight. Right? I want to go listen to his music. What do you think folks listening to your music will walk away with?
Just a new outlook on life. When people listen to my music, I want them, when they go back into the world, you know, to feel like they too have a purpose, they too have meaning, and that they should always want better for themselves, and they should stand on principles and morals. They shouldn't abide to all the things that's being thrown towards their way to condition them and to program them. I understand it's all for entertainment, but at the same time, you know, have an open mind and just realize what's going on in the world, and that you shouldn't fall, subject to that, but instead stand firm to everything that's going on. Again, just being true to yourself, just being authentic, and understanding that you have purpose. So that's the biggest thing for me when people listen to my music, no matter what song it is. Just for them to want better for themselves, so that they can make the world better. Because everybody talks about making the world a better place, but it starts with you first.
That's
Wow,
true.
wow, that's powerful, right? I mean, the thing about it, when I listen to you, right, I feel like, man, it's like you really want your story to resonate with the world, to resonate with with your audience, with folks listening to you. A lot of people chase music for fame. I mean, I suppose we live in a world now. Everybody want to be famous.
Right.
Everybody want everybody want that instant fame. But for you, right, your music and your artistry, it seems to be rooted in, as I say, you keep talking about purpose, and
Yeah.
purpose. Right? It's like, where did that come from? Where did that clarity for you come from?
Again, just that vision that I had, that awakening that I had. But I've always been this type of person, though. I've never chased popularity. I've never been that type of person. I've never wanted to be, the guy in the crowd that I want everybody to see me, and then, be the guy that everybody likes. Like, that has never been me. Like, I've always been very different, very unique. Um, but the only difference I'll say between now and me back then is that in the past, I really didn't know who I really was. I really didn't know what my purpose was. I was just going through life, thinking a lot and just wondering a lot. But like now, all that I was wondering and thinking about, it all makes sense now. And I see my vision and I see my purpose of what I'm meant to do in this life.
Okay, okay, Miss B.
That's awesome. So I'm sitting here, I'm loving what I know so much about you and the album and your songs that you have out there. Where do people go and get to check you out at? I mean, are you out in the Maryland, DMV area performing? What does it look like for you for the beginning of this year?
Yeah, so this year, what I've been doing, actually, my biggest goals is like do a lot of these podcasts. So this is actually like accomplishing one of my goals. Do a lot of podcasts, and as well as radio interviews.
Mm.
Because again, I've noticed in the era that we're in, the rise of podcasts and the rise of streaming. It's like almost like everybody got to have some podcasts now. And so what I've noticed is like to get my message, get my story, and let people see my purpose, I have to
Mm.
get these different radio interviews and different podcasts and just share, my story and my music and my purpose.
Do you do any kind of a live performance? Right, I know, you live in the DMV era. I mean, I've only been there once, man, but that era be popping. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. I mean,
I've
the African immigrant community there. I love them. You know what I mean? It's like they be doing their thing. It's like, do you do any kind of a live music, maybe in a club or something? Like, do people maybe get you to come over and then just do some rhyming or do some songs and stuff?
so I've only done 3 performances around here. Like, believe it or not, like it's extremely hard to to get like some type of venue to get you to come perform at their venue, because
what happened to all the promoters, man? There's a lot of promoters out there. I mean, what happened to all the promoters? None of them promoted you or something?
it's like, no. And I reach out to a lot of people consistently and daily, and
Wow.
and majority of them either leave me unread, or they just don't. They'll tell me, "Oh, you're not like, your music has to be, on the Billboard charts in order for us to play it or get you to come perform." It's like I get a lot of, like, negative responses, but again, I understand why that is, so I don't like feed into that to like deter me from going where I need to go. So
Yeah.
I continue, just keep pushing and finding different avenues and different ways to like market and promote my music, and even try to get performances, out at bars or clubs or wherever it's at. So I'm constantly wanting to do these things.
Man, I mean, it's like, what, first of all, right? Don't give up. Is success. Everyone who has been successful, especially in the entertainment industry, man, it takes work, it takes effort, it takes
a lot of
everything.
no's before you get to yeses.
Yeah.
Stay determined. Yes, stay determined.
anything too, right? I know you live in the DMV area, but I mean, the East Coast is huge. And, and 50 states plus 2 territories. I mean, plus so many territories. And then we're about to get Greenland. So when you add Greenland, it's gonna be so don't give up, don't expand your horizon. Maybe we can get you over to Minnesota here, right? Where you can, because there are a lot of Cameroonians here though, right? Is that even just this year was last year, I think, last year or the year before, they had a huge Cameroonian community from all over the world. They had an annual convention here in Minnesota. So, and those are Cameroonian friends. So maybe what we'll do, right, is that work on something, we can get you down here and do some performance, for the community. We can work on that. So, but don't give up. Right? Don't give up. Don't give up. Yeah.
I know in the beginning I said I didn't know about Cameroon, but La Bianca, I forgot. I love her. Do you know La Bianca? She's Cameroonian. She has a hit song called People.
I've heard that name before. I've actually heard that name.
I've been drinking for the past 5 days. Did you check on me? Have you checked on me?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah.
I would definitely, I would reach out, and sometimes maybe you have to reach out to other people. I would definitely reach out to her, say, hey, my Cameroonian sister, your Cameroon brother here. I mean, like, let's connect. Let's see how we can, vibe together. But yeah, she has a great song. It's called People. So you should check her out, La Bianca.
Definitely.
That's the only other Cameroonian artist I know.
Definitely will.
I mean, I know, like, you talk about some of the challenges you are facing, right? And I know you started, like, you went public with your music, since 2022. What would you describe as a success right now? Do you feel you have made it, or I mean, in terms of not like maybe like the reception, right? Maybe like that you are trying to get here, but do you think, how would you describe success, I guess, for you right now?
For me, success is the fact that I'm actually still, doing music and getting more recognition for it. So now, like, even with the difference now and the difference from last year is like now, like sometimes when I go out in public, like Walmart or Target or something, I might meet like one or two people who be like, man, I love what you're doing. I didn't, or they'll say something like, I love the new song that you just came out with. So they're starting to recognize that, my music. They're starting to recognize me and my music, as compared to like last year when, I wasn't having it. So success for me is just the progress and the recognition that I'm starting to get as of right now.
Okay. And I mean, it's like, I know you say your music on so many other platforms, but do you have like a YouTube channel, or like, do you have music videos out there on YouTube or something that folks can check out?
Yes. So I have a YouTube channel, and I have also I have one music video, and I'm actually planning another one in a couple weeks for my new song Open Thoughts. But the one music video that I have out right now on YouTube is called Devil, which is speaking on, you know, the challenges and the adversity that you're facing in your life, and you have to
Oh,
overcome that. So
yeah,
it's not because, you know, the things that are happening to you, the bad things that are happening to you are, you know, the song symbolizes that has the devil, you know, that's the
yeah.
devil on you. You know,
Okay,
so
okay.
you have to face your demons. You have to face that devil. You have to face the hardships, the
Yeah.
struggles of life, overcome that adversity, you know, and just keep pushing forward in life. And that's how you build as a person, you know?
The one thing though, the one thing, right? I know Miss B talk about, like Bianca, who not Bianca or something like that from Cameroon. I know you from Cameroon, but I mean like Afrobeats or music as a whole. To me, music as a whole, right? We term it as Afrobeat, but music as a whole, even rap music.
Mhm.
The continent is getting a whole lot of recognition, right? I mean, there's so many superstars coming from the continent right now. The music has gone global. Have you ever thought about maybe doing a pilgrimage back home? Not in Cameroon, but maybe, Nigeria and Cameroon share border. Have you ever thought about, man, let me go back and check the continent now? Maybe that would give me more inspiration. That would give me some connection,
Oh yeah,
and see how I can maybe blow up, because as I said, man, the continent is where entertainment is happening right now, right? Whether you like it or not, that's where, and rap music, dude,
yeah,
people like, people love it, and you have your own flavor to that, but have you ever thought about
yeah.
doing a pilgrimage back
Oh
to the
yeah,
continent?
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. When me and my family we actually planned on like going back on like a family vacation like next year, you know, but I always, you know, but I've always, you know, thought about going back home and doing performances, you know, for the people there, you know, and just, you know, just connecting with them and just showing them that, you know, even though I am Americanized, I'm still one of y'all. I still
Look,
hold
look, 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 look,
faith.
man. Davido was born here, dude, and look at him right now. Davido was born right here, right? And look at him, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So it shouldn't be hard for you, right? I think my thing is, like, not just you going home performing for your people, right? But maybe connecting with artists on the continent, right? Connecting with other folks on the continent. Maybe like, in Nigeria, Ghana, even Cameroon. The entire continent, the folks are coming from over, and everyone has their own unique stuff, right? That they are doing, right? And the continent
yeah,
is embracing that, and things like that. So I guess the point I was driving at, not just you, maybe with your family, but musically, right? Culture, like things that you
mhm,
want to do. Right, is like just paying that pilgrimage and go there, maybe connecting to some other artists, and who knows, the rest of it might be, the rest of it might be history.
When is the
yeah.
last time you've been back home?
I haven't actually been back home since we moved here. But my
Oh,
mom, she's been back home I want to say about three times before. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why me and my family are like we're all planning, you know, to go back home on a vacation.
But
right.
musically, I'll tell you, man, check the continent out. It's like, man, that's where entertainment. Entertainment is, and you might be shocked, right? That's where you might
Yeah,
get your break. That's where you might get your break
yeah.
from. I'm telling you that, right? So do that. You need to work on that pilgrimage beyond going with your family on a vacation. Do a music pilgrimage, okay?
Music pilgrimage.
Continent, right? You are bigger pictures of that. But yes, other thing, right? Well, folks, tonight we are discussing from Cameroon to the Clubhouse, the story of music, purpose, and impact. And we are talking with Noc. He's an upcoming musician, rap, things like that, and he's doing his thing. He want to, have a breakthrough. So you can join the conversation. Put a comment in the chat or call our number 952-594-5154. This has been a great, great conversation. Really, really enjoying it. Man, your story is very, very impactful. But the other thing about your story, right? You say you work with the boys and you work at the Boys and Girls Club in Maryland.
Yes.
Working with young people these days, right?
So
What do you, yeah? What do you see, right? What do you see working with young people?
so the age group I work with is 6 years old to 18-year-old, but the youngest we have at the club is 6, and the oldest that we have at the club right now is 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I noticed with the young people, like everything for them is like it's like a sense of entitlement. They have
Mm.
a sense of entitlement that I've noticed. Yeah, it's just even I love those kids to death, and I'm helping them go down the right path. But like that's one of the things that I've noticed is just like that sense of entitlement and thinking that they deserve everything, and they don't really have to
Work
work
for
for it.
anything.
Yeah, because it's like they feel like because I feel this way, I should get this. It's it's like that's not how life works. That's not
And
how
it
life.
don't just stop with them, it's just the whole Gen Zers because
Yeah,
when you enter the workplace, that's the unfortunate thing is like my feelings and I feel this way and nobody is listening to my feelings. Nobody is, I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
right.
I mean, but being in an environment, right, and being in that space, right? How does your immigrant journey help you to like connect with these kids and mentor them? I guess.
Yes.
A lot of these kids at the club, they're Haitians, and their parents,
Mm,
they come from Haiti. So
mm,
that's how I'm really able to like connect with a lot of them. But
mm,
also the thing is like where the club is located, it's in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. So the kids who stay in that area, they love hearing the stories that I have of when I was a kid, living in that area. And I'm telling them, this is how things used to be. This is what we used to do, and now everything is just different and everything's just changed, and it's just crazy to me that that I'm here and just having to experience all those changes, but yet
Mm,
just wanting to help them as well.
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. The other thing, right, about you, right? You don't just talk about purpose, right? It's that you live it. You know,
Hmm.
the thing about it, and
Exactly.
yeah, in this kind of environment and what we live in right now, it's hard to stay grounded. How do you
Right.
stay grounded? How do you stay grounded, right, with everything with, and now, man, I mean, believe me, man, you're gonna blow up, right? How do you stay grounded right now, and how are you gonna stay grounded once you become, this superstar, performing all over the world? How will you, how do you stay grounded right now? How are you gonna stay grounded, right? Because you don't want to talk about purpose, but you're living it.
Honestly, just remembering where I've come from, to be honest.
Mm,
Like
mm,
that's like that right there is helping me, just stay true to what I'm doing,
mm-hmm,
and because when I look at the world and I'm observing, everything that's going on in the world, I just think where I come from, and I'm like, I don't want to like I understand that, time, life, the world is always gonna move forward, and you have to move forward with that, but you also have to be true to yourself. So you're constantly growing with the world, with time, and with life, but you're remaining true to yourself, and you're just growing as a person. So you're not falling trapped to like any type of trend or any type of negativity that's going on, because you're constantly reflecting on what you have been through and who you are as a person and what have made you to be a better person in this world.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's I'm just gonna stay grounded with everything. Is just continue just being me. You know,
That's
don't
good.
follow the trend, set my own trend.
That's good, Miss B.
No, I mean you are a humble person.
Thank you.
I see that. Yes, it's in of what you do, and I can see where that connection continues to be for you in purpose. Before we get out of here, just again, I just want to say, what is the very next thing you are planning to do, or where you're going to be at? What's the next podcast? If you already know where you're going to be at, what's the next thing you're going to do? Let us know where we can check you out or continue to hear music from you.
So the next thing for me, as I mentioned before, is the music video. So I definitely want people to tune in to that music video, because this music video, it's going to be, it's just going to show the realness of how, again, the average person, I want to show, you know, the job that I'm doing as a club manager for the Boys and Girls Club. I want to show my interaction with the kids, and I also want to just show, just real life scenarios as far as like what, grown-ups have to deal with bills and stuff and all that stuff that we gotta handle as adults. So this music video, I just want to show like just the um catch a glimpse of the average person's life.
Yeah. Well, folks, man, it has been a great conversation. This is a 1 hour show. We'll just do a few more things there, and then we'll try to wrap it up. It's been a great conversation, man. It's like I don't want to end. When having great conversation like that, just want to start on. But man, but it's a 1 hour show. We can't keep dragging it on now. But it's been so gracious. Number one, first of all, accepting our invitation to come on this platform. That's all we are trying to do, right? Amplify, empower, and elevate folks like you, right? Especially like African immigrant. Amplify your story, elevate you, empower you, so that to me, I want you to become global, man. I think you'll get there. I think you can get there because you are very authentic in a world is very very hard to find, and things
Right.
like that. Everyone want that instant fame. Everyone want that few second video to go global and stuff like that. For you, you are actually putting in the work, right, and to try to
Yeah.
get there. But I think, I guess, one more question for you, right? Like certain people, right? Is if music to someone is a gift, right? Someone listening to us right now, if music is their gift, but fear is holding them back, what's the message to them?
Mm-hmm.
Mm, over, in order for you to have courage, you got to have fear.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever is holding you back or whatever you fear, understand that that fear is for a reason. It's for you to overcome it. Courage doesn't mean that you don't have any fear and that you can just go around, saying that you can handle everything or be tough or whatever. But you need that fear. Don't dwell in the fear, but you need that fear in order for you to overcome it. And whatever you want to succeed in life is just having to just overcome any fear, any stress, any negativity, because all of that is meant for a reason. And you have to realize that everything that's happening to you is for a reason. And that reason for everyone is to strengthen them, to make them a better person, and for them to find themselves and see what their purpose is, and see the meaning that they have in this life.
Okay. And lastly, then, if people that are listening tonight, right, if people remember one thing about not tonight, like after tonight, what do you hope it is?
He's a humble man who's just trying to do better for himself and do better for his people.
Love
Okay.
it.
Love that. Love that. But man, I said it has been a great conversation. We hope we can have you back here, right? Once that music blow up,
Yes,
I mean, maybe. And as I said, right, we'll try to connect offline to see if we can get you in Minnesota. I mean, we can get you to Minnesota here. There's a huge Cameroonian community here for sure. I know that.
yes,
I'm going to connect with them to see if we can get you down here to Minnesota. Is the nicest state in the union. I know you are hearing otherwise. My mentor is saying, there's so many fraud here, but nothing, man. I can tell you that there's the nicest state in the union. You come here, you're gonna feel so much love. And Minnesota nice. It's not a joke. It's a real thing. It's not a phrase. It's a real thing. And I'm gonna make sure I'll get you over here, right? So you can actually connect with the community and do something for us. So, but
yes.
it's
Thank you.
been great. It's been great having you on tonight, Miss B. And then anything for you before we try to close the
No,
mic?
I appreciate you, Noc Beteck, and it's been great having you on here. Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.
I'm learning and loving your music, and I look forward to more from you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
So
also, my next song that I'm gonna drop in February is another like relationship type of song. So be on the lookout for that.
I will.
Yeah.
and then
The song is called Heartache.
and then maybe we'll need to work on a theme song for Taco podcast too, right?
Yes. I
on
got
a
you.
rap team,
Yes.
on a rap team song, right? So we can do that.
I
You know
got
what I mean?
you. I got you.
Exactly. You know.
Yeah.
But before we go, man, what's the message, right, you want to leave with the folks tonight? Folks that have been listening to you tonight, and folks that are going to listen to you. Because guess what, man? We'll do our best to make sure this whole segment will go over. We're going to play our part. So, folks that are listening to you tonight, folks that are going to listen to you, what's the message you want to leave with them?
Support me so I can keep giving the world what it needs.
Man, you're something else, man. I like you already, dog. You know,
Thank you.
folks, it's been a great show. We're gonna be back here tomorrow. We have another guest on Wednesday, but Miss B and I, and Peterson will be back here tomorrow. We're gonna, we got an interesting topic. I'm not gonna give it away, but folks, it's been a great show. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. And y'all have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
See y'all.